Hey guys, putting WeatherTech Mudflaps on the new Silverado. I figured that's worth a how-to video at the very least. So let's take a few minutes and let me show you how easy it is, I hope, to put these WeatherTech Mudflaps on this 2018 Chevy Silverado. Looks pretty simple. Let's do it. On the Silverado 1500, this is a 2018 Silverado. I don't think anything has significantly changed since 14 or 15 on these, but just in case, this is an 18. Okay, so first thing you want to do, clean the area, and step number 2, we want to remove 2 screws right in here that are holding this little piece of plastic on. Now, if you're using a big ratchet or trying to use a screwdriver or something with your little star bit that they do include, this is the bit that is included with the WeatherTech mats or Mudflaps, then you want to, if you're going to try and use a screwdriver or a deep standard ratchet, you might find yourself having some conflicts with your rear tire being in the way. But if you have a very flat tool such as this, which I highly recommend, it's always good to have anyway. This is 1/4 inch drive, so that fits right in there. And this one's nice because it has also has a 1/4 inch drive ratchet connection on the opposite side, but it still remains very thin. So make sure we're in take it off mode and just put that in there. And there we go. Yeah, we just loosen these. I just can't imagine why I would want to take off the wheel and tire just to do something like this. So it's nice to not have to. Again, here's our... Once you get them worked loose, you can really just take them out with your fingers, probably. No, maybe not. Not quite. So we've got those out. Now all we have to do is take our mud flap, and this system right here allows it to lock onto the lip in your wheel well in your rear fender or quarter without any kind of drill or new screw having to be put in there, no hole. So what that does is it just basically turns and locks once we get it in place. So you want to make sure it's in the vertical position the way you see it here first, and then we're going to set the mud flap in place, eye it up, make sure everything looks good, try and hand start one of these screws here if I can to hold it. Okay, looking good. Let's try and hand start the other one. It's going to be a little tougher because the other one is, let me alter my position. There we go. It makes it easier. And I just want to get these finger tight. Tight's not even the right word. Finger snug-ish. Work on this one a little bit more. Alright, now I'm going to use my ratchet now. Okay, now they're still a little loose, which is what I want, because I want to be able to position this where it needs to be. And that looks good. It looks good. So now we take the Allen key that was provided by WeatherTech and we insert it here, and we're just simply going to rotate this, and that's going to move that lock on the other side. Correction in technique, you want to make that loose. You want to turn that lock by hand so that it is at 90 degrees or horizontal orientation, and then we want to tighten it down so that it won't move from that position. Capiche? All right. Yeah, there we go. We got her. Looks good. All right. And there it is. I know it's hard to see, not a lot of contrast there with the black, and that's kind of what I want. Not really looking for a whole lot of contrast there. There we go. The look from underneath. Looks good. Definitely covers the width of the whole wheel, so that ought to keep the back end of the truck clean. On to the front. So obviously I'm just going to repeat the same thing for the passenger side and then do the front. Alright, so front, same as the rear, almost. Clean it again. We want to get everything clean because we're about to cover it up and attach something to it. Might as well get it clean, right? Okay, now, one of the things about the front that I was a little concerned with, I had seen some concerns that people had where this groove, this little channel in the mud flap, which is meant to go around this bead of weather strip, was not really aligned properly. It didn't match up. Wasn't where it was supposed to be, basically. So if I lay this right here now, this one looks to be perfect, and it looks like all the holes are where the holes need to be. So it looks like WeatherTech has fixed that problem. And this one looks like it fits really nicely. So I'm going to move forward, and we're going to begin by removing the 2 up here and 2 down here. Removing those 4 screws. Now, if you had to with your front wheels, you could cut the wheels, turn them one way and then turn the other one the other way to make room to do your work. But again, with this flat ratchet, I shouldn't have to do that. Plenty of room, and these screws are not in very tight, and you want to kind of gauge that for yourself too. And you remove them so that you don't make them much tighter than that when you put them back in. Because these are basically self-starting or self-tapping type of screws. You could easily strip them to make them too tight. Then you're not having as good a day, because now you don't have a good screw and you may not have a good hole. So find yourself in plan B mode. All right, 2 more to go. So now we set the mud flap up there in place. Might as well clean it off where I accidentally stepped on it. All right. And set it up in here. It fits right over this plastic body piece. And our holes should be lining up nicely. Let's double check. See if we can hand start these screws. Get all 4 of them hand started. And get these sort of semi-snug. I'm not trying to sell you guys a tool. If you don't have one though, I will put a link. I got this on Amazon, this tool, and I'll put a link to it. Because it is nice for jobs like this. Like I say, it's got a socket on the other side, 1/4-inch drive, and female 1/4-inch drive on the side I'm using. So I can put that little Torx connector right there. And that wheel, that Wheel is great because you kind of use one thumb to turn the wheel, or thumb and forefinger. All right, so right there you can see there's a little bit of a gap right there, but it's not too bad. Not too bad, and the rest of the fit is nice. It's nice and snug. And that should help keep the vehicle clean, which is important, especially with these power running boards. These running boards come out when you open the door and retract when you close the door. You can see they're retracted right now. So with these power running boards, you got to keep them clean. If you get a bunch of crap on them, they're gonna bind. So that's gonna help with that for sure. And just keep stuff off my paint, keep me from throwing up little stones and all that good stuff. All right, guys, there you go. All done in about a half hour total to do all four, and even taking the time to set up cameras and tell you about it. WeatherTech no drill mud flaps on the Silverado 2018. Piece of cake. Talking about mud flaps, my truck's got them.